Hey guys, here I am, your favorite narrator, bringing another new story to the channel, and this time we'll bring the story of Beerus' father. That's right, even our beloved God of Destruction has a father. But did you know that he was the first God of Destruction in Universe 7? No, right? So let me tell you everything and why he is no longer the God of Destruction. Well, having said that, I hope you leave a lot of likes and comment if you want the continuation of the story. With all that done, grab your popcorn and Coke and let's see this amazing story. Millennia ago, there was the first God of Destruction who was among us, and his name was Beermur. He was more powerful than all the gods of destruction in any universe. His fame was known by the entire multiverse. The one who could absorb the life energy of the planet just by opening his mouth and sucking everything he could. Old Beermur had a vast knowledge of magic and used it to his advantage when punishing the planets. Once he decided to take a rest of 10,000 years on his home planet called Cornicida. In that time of rest, he met the one who, for some, would be his wife. But for Beermur, the woman he had just met would be the one who would generate the worthy heir. A few years together with his wife, they produce a son, little Beerus. After Beerus grows up and becomes a kind of teenager, Beermur abandons him and his wife to continue his destiny of being the god of destruction of Universe 7. Beerus then grew up with his mother throughout his adolescence until one day his father returned. The little Beerus was hoping that his father would give up on becoming the god of destruction, but unfortunately that wasn't the reason for Beermur's visit. Beermur, alongside Whis, returned to his planet after a long time and announced the destruction of his own home planet. The only survivor of that horrific day in the life of Beerus had been himself. Beermur asked Whis to take Beerus to another planet where he would not be destroyed for a while. Beerus then realized that his father had not saved him because he liked him, but because the boy would be useful to him in the future. After the destruction of his home planet, the god Beermur had mysteriously disappeared. No one but Whis knew what had happened to him, and with that Whis trained new gods of destruction until he reached the current god, Beerus. Beerus was very sorry for the loss of his planet and the people, and that made Beerus carry a hatred that made him destroy the planets he saw in front of him. But all he really wanted to do was to take revenge on his father for what he did to his mother. One of the reasons Beerus didn't destroy the land is because of the love they had for each other, something his father never knew. Beerus and Whis never commented on Beermur, but they knew what each one thought of Beermur, and that was enough, and that's why they never talked about Beerus' father, because earlier and later they would meet. On Earth in current times, the Z-Warriors were having a small party among themselves to celebrate Father's Day. Beerus was not happy, and was only there because he was invited. He could not refuse that party. Goku, Krillin, and Vegeta had received some gifts from their children and wives for being amazing parents. Piccolo watched the party from afar until Gohan came up to him with a present for him who had been such a good father, and that moved the Namekian a lot. Piccolo then said, "Thank you, Gohan. I'm glad you have this affection for me. I'm eternally grateful for that," Piccolo said with a big smile. Gohan then says, "No need to thank you. You're amazing," said Gohan, hugging Piccolo. Everyone was cheering merrily until Goku and Vegeta noticed that Beerus and Whis were acting weirder than usual, and they decided to see what it could be. As Goku approached, he said, "Come eat something that Chi-Chi prepared. You look terrible," said Goku, smiling, trying to cheer up Beerus. Beerus growls and says, "I'm just waiting for this party to end so I can get out of here as fast as I can, so I don't have to see that snotty face of yours. Something else you treat each other like it's a big deal to be a father or have a child," said Beerus, quite grumpy and irritated, leaving Goku scared. Whis comments, "Father's Day doesn't make much difference to me. My dad and brothers don't see each other often, but I can assure you that we are forever grateful to him," said Whis, making Beerus even angrier. The god of destruction then says, "Do you say that about all your brothers, even those who—" Before Beerus could finish his speech, Whis interrupts him. After Whis interrupts Beerus, he says, "Yes, sir, Beerus. All my brothers without exception," Whis calmly said. Vegeta steps in front of Goku and says, "Is that grumpy mood of yours the fact that your father isn't here with you?" asked Vegeta, playing with Beerus' face. An angry Beerus says, "You don't know anything about my father," Beerus exclaims. Goku then asks curiously, "That's true. I had never thought about that. Who was your father, Sir Beerus?" questioned Goku intriguingly. Beerus dryly responds, "My father was a nobody, that's all," said Beerus, turning his face. Vegeta laughs and says, "Are you angry because your father was a nobody?" said Vegeta, looking at Beerus in the eyes. Beerus gets up in a rage and raises his ki, but Whis holds him back and says, "Calm down, Mr. Beerus. Sit down," Whis said while Beerus sat down again. Whis goes on to say, "Mr. Beerus' father was the first god of destruction of Universe 7, and without a doubt, he was the best man I ever trained in my entire existence," said Whis, leaving Goku and Vegeta quite impressed until Beerus starts to get angry. Beerus, containing all his anger, says, "Enough, Whis. That was enough," said Beerus, who was almost at his limit regarding that conversation. Goku very excitedly and curiously says, "Mr. Beerus, this is amazing. Where is your father now? What happened to him?" questioned Goku. Vegeta senses that something bad could happen and says, "Kakarot, I don't think we should go on talking about this. The situation could get worse," said Vegeta very nervously. Whis then laughs and says, "The situation has already gotten worse," Whis said while seeing Beerus raise all his hatred to the maximum. Beerus then, not holding up, gets up and shouts, "My father disappeared millennia ago. He was complete garbage. He killed my mother and my entire planet. That's why I hate this pathetic human day," said Beerus, completely irritated, making Goku and Vegeta nervous. Whis then calmly says, "Your father is not gone, Mr. Beerus. You don't know the truth about your father, so please don't say nonsense. You never knew the truth about your father because you let your ignorance blind your eyes, and so you didn't go after him. I could have helped if I wanted to," Whis said, staring at Beerus. Vegeta and Goku think at the same time, "This is going to be a problem," thought the Saiyajin, preparing for the worst when seeing the state in which the situation was. Goku then calmed the situation down by saying, "Alright guys, we understand that Mr. Beerus doesn't want to talk about his father, right?" said Goku very nervous, looking at Whis and Beerus. Beerus then lowers his head and smiles. Then he laughs and says, "You're wrong, Son Goku. I want to know about my father more than anyone else." "Come on, Whis, open your beak. Tell him everything he knows," ordered Beerus. Vegeta, worried about what could happen if Beerus gets angry, says, "I don't think that's a good idea. You guys should say that somewhere else," suggested Vegeta, who is completely ignored by both. Whis then calmly says, "Alright, Mr. Beerus, if that's what you want. You'll know your father's origin here and now," Whis said, staring at Beerus, who was slightly anxious to hear what Whis would say. Whis and Beerus looked at each other seriously as they were watched by Vegeta and Goku, who were worried, but also quite curious to know the history of Beerus' father. The Saiyan waiting for Whis to tell the story anxiously. The angel then looks at the Saiyan and smiles, saying, "It's remarkable that you want to hear a lot, so I'll tell you," Whis said, smiling. Beerus says irritably, "You guys are too nosy. I don't see anything interesting coming from that guy for you to be interested about him. My father is a destroyer of lives and a terrible father," said Beerus, quite furious, leaving Goku a little distressed. Vegeta then arrogantly says, "I thought the work of the gods of destruction was to destroy the planets. Apparently that's all you guys are for, isn't it?" Needled, Vegeta irritated, but Beerus was reaching the limit of his patience. Whis then interferes, giving a slight cough to ease the situation, and in a friendly way he says, "Calm down, Mr. Beerus. You better than anyone should know how these two love a story to get into trouble. I think I better tell you before they piss you off even more, don't you?" Whis said, looking at Beerus, who simply sighs and nods in agreement while containing his anger. Goku then gets too excited and says, "Finally, seeing you two facing each other was already annoying. Tell me soon," said Goku, excited when he notices Beerus' angry face and soon realizes he has said a lot of nonsense. Vegeta, almost out of patience, says, "Stop stalling, just say it," said Vegeta rudely. Whis then gives a slight cough and sitting in a chair says, "Please gentlemen, sit down as the story may be a little long for you," Whis said as his friends sat around him. Whis then continues saying, "Well, millennia ago I was continuing Mr. Beermur's training, and I realized that he had reached an incredible level of power, something that until today I have never seen in a mere mortal. He was obviously more powerful than all the gods of destruction that existed. They were enormously jealous of Beermur's power, and for that they hated him," said Whis, who stopped when he saw Goku restless with his curiosity. Goku then says, "Let me guess, the gods came together to defeat Beermur?" asked a euphoric Goku. Vegeta, irritated by the fact that Goku interrupted Whis, the Prince of Saiyans, then says, "Let him continue the story," exclaimed Vegeta furiously while Goku was quiet. Whis then continued the story. Beermur was not easily intimidated by the threats of the gods. Once one of them came personally to face him in a fight to the death. The fight was not balanced. 1 hour Beerus hit, and at another time his opponent was beaten. The god had his life spared by Mr. Beermur because he knew that if he left that god alive, it would hurt his ego to the point that he begged for death, said Whis, leaving Goku and Vegeta speechless due to Beermur's power level. Even listening to all this, Beerus doesn't show any surprise or interest towards his father, and the Saiyans realize that. Whis then decides to continue his story by saying, "One day, a meeting of angels was held without my presence, but I learned through Vados what they had said that day. The angels wanted to get rid of Beermur once and for all, because they were afraid of what he would be able to do, but they couldn't kill him due to our father's laws. In addition to the fact that Beermur possessed an absurd knowledge of magic that not even angels had," said Whis. Vegeta, after briefly analyzing the story, says, "All this because some powerful beings were jealous of a similar one? This is somehow nostalgic for me," Vegeta commented with a slight smile. Goku sees Vegeta commenting on the situation and says, "When it's me interrupting the story, you complain, right?" said Goku indignantly. Beerus gets angry and says, "Shut up, you two. Keep listening to Whis," said Beerus, stressed and slightly furious. Whis then continues the story by saying, "The angels then came to a conclusion. Beermur would be cast out into the void world." Whis said, surprising even Beerus, who was amazed at that. Beerus, amazed, then says, "But wait a minute, only 4 beings were expelled to the empty world. It's not possible that my father was a threat to that point," said Beerus, grinding his teeth. Goku then asks, "What's in the void? I remember we fought there some time ago, but is there anything else there?" questioned Goku, intrigued. Whis then calmly replies, "After the creation of some universes, 4 angels rebelled against Daishinkan-sama. The universes of these angels were then destroyed, and the angels were banished to a place where they existed longer than Zeno-sama himself. The place is full of powerful and unimaginable creatures. The 4 angels, as much as they were trapped, they got stronger there, and thus became the 4 strongest archangels in the whole empty world," Whis explained. Beerus, who was already more than curious about the matter, asks, "So there are creatures in the void that are capable of being stronger than me?" questioned Beerus, worried and slightly distressed. Whis then says, "Yes, even a miserable creature in that immensity can be work for the entire universe we know today. The archangels are savage and fierce. They've been fighting each other for millennia, and I wonder what must have happened when Beermur arrived at that location," asked Whis, slightly worried. Goku gets serious and asks, looking into Whis' eyes, "Is it possible that Beerus' father is still alive?" asked Goku, while everyone looked at Whis thoughtfully. Whis starts to reflect a little and says, "Yes, it's possible, yes. I don't think that Lord Beermur would be defeated so easily in these millennia," Whis said confidently. Goku then says excitedly, "Then we can rescue him somehow," suggested Goku, excited, while Beerus still seemed to want to listen to Whis' story a little more. Beerus then, looking at Whis, asked, "Why did my father blow up my planet?" questioned Beerus, generating a tense atmosphere around. Whis quickly replies, "I don't know, but I believe it was not for nothing," Whis said, disappointing Beerus. Vegeta then questions, "Should we really do something to find out the truth?" Vegeta asks seriously. Beerus, in a grumpy manner, then asks, "What's the use? If he's still alive, he must have gotten used to it a long time ago," said Beerus. A day goes by after the party at Bulma's house. The Saiyans, Goku and Vegeta, are sitting on their plane near their houses while having a drink. Goku and Vegeta were thinking about the conversation they had with Beerus and Whis last night, and were discussing about what they could do about it. Vegeta thought it best to leave the story behind because it would be better for everyone, and especially for Beerus. Goku disagreed because he wanted to solve this anguish of Beerus once and for all, and somehow rescue the ancient god of destruction. Vegeta looked with his penetrating gaze at Goku, who was scared to see that look from Vegeta. The Prince of Saiyans then calmly said, "Beerus doesn't want to solve this. If he wanted, he and Whis would have already solved it themselves. Let's leave things as they are. My relationship with my father wasn't the best, and there was no way I could change anything that happened," said Vegeta, lowering his head and closing his eyes. Goku then gets confused and says, "You're right, you couldn't change anything, but Beerus can, and that choice unfortunately is his, and all we can do is wait," said Goku after a long sigh. Vegeta then says, "If by chance Beerus changes his mind, he won't want to solve this alone. I think it's difficult for him to involve us in this, so don't worry about the situation," said Vegeta, and then taking a sip of his drink. Goku then decides to ask, "Vegeta, would you save your father if you had the chance?" questioned Goku with a slight curiosity. Vegeta spends a few moments thinking and he replies, "Knowing everything I know about him? No, other than the fact that he wouldn't want his son to change his fate. His end is the result of his choices, whether they are good or not," said Vegeta, leaving Goku thoughtful about what he had just said. Goku then gives a side smile and says, "I wish I had the chance to meet my father. I keep thinking to myself if he would be proud of what I've become and what I've done in life." "Don't you think so, Vegeta?" questioned Goku, looking into Vegeta's eyes. Vegeta then replies, "Yes, I think about it sometimes. When I look at my son, I'm quite proud of what he became and did in life. But I think my father would only feel one thing, envy," said Vegeta, leaving Goku a little sad. Goku then says, "Yes, our children are our greatest pride. I think that's all that matters. Don't you agree?" questioned Goku. Vegeta, giving a slight smile, replies, "Yes, you're absolutely right about that part," answered Vegeta while smiling with Goku watching the sunset. On the planet of Beerus. Elsewhere, Beerus was lying on his bed wearing his classic pajamas. He was watching the ceiling, and he was thinking about his father, a subject he never liked or even wanted to think about. Beerus reflected and asked himself what would be the reason that made his father, the ancient god of destruction, exterminate his own race. Now that Beerus knows the chance of Beermur being alive is high, he thought it would be worth saving him to find out the answers that he's looking for so much, but Beerus only knows that he can have a huge disappointment, since there is such a probability. Beerus then gets out of bed in his pajamas and decides to leave his comforts, and together with Whis, they go to the planet Earth to talk about what they could do. Beerus then arrives on planet Earth with Whis, who is still confused as to what Beerus is going to do, until the god of destruction notices Goku and Vegeta sitting in the grass and walks over to them in a very hurried fashion. Beerus then shouts, "Get up! I need to talk to you!" exclaimed Beerus, scaring Goku and Vegeta. Goku, surprised to see Beerus, says, "Beerus, why are you here?" questioned Goku, trying to understand. Beerus growls and says, "I changed my mind. I want help from you two to enter that empty world and go to where my father is," exclaimed Beerus, impressing everyone around him. Goku is so perplexed that he can't answer, so Vegeta takes the lead, saying, "If you didn't want to see your father before, why would you want to now?" asked Vegeta suspiciously. Beerus then replies, "I have matters to resolve personally with my father. If I don't like it, I'll send him back to the void," said Beerus with a confident look. Suspicious, Vegeta says, "For those who didn't want to see their father even painted in gold, you really want to see him," said Vegeta, staring at Beerus. Curious, Goku then questions, "How would you throw your father back into that empty world if you don't even know how we are going to get there?" questioned Goku, intrigued. Whis then butts in on the conversation, saying, "I know the spell that opens the portal to emptiness, and I also know the spell to close it," said Whis, leaving Goku quite impressed with that. Vegeta then asks Beerus, "What are you not telling us?" "I still think this is too fishy for my taste," Vegeta grumbled angrily, staring at Beerus. Beerus then gets stressed and says, "The business with my father is just between me and him. I need both of you. Only you two can help me with this," said Beerus, grinding his teeth. Vegeta, still mumbling, asks, "And why do you need both of us? You could go on your own, since that's your business, or even send another warrior on it," questioned Vegeta. Beerus then decides to explain, "I can't go on that mission. Whis and I have to stay here. Don't worry, we'll protect Earth from anything." "But what about that?" asked Beerus, while Goku and Vegeta looked at each other thoughtfully. Goku then suggests, "We should have a little more time to think before making a final decision. I think that would be the most sensible idea," said Goku, leaving Vegeta impressed due to Goku's right choice. Beerus responds by saying, "We don't have time. We have to decide this fast. If the angels find out about our ruse, we could be in serious danger. We could be erased from all existence," said Beerus, stressed, rushing the decision of Goku and Vegeta. Goku looks at Vegeta and says, "I'll leave that decision to Vegeta. Whatever he decides, I'll accept," said Goku seriously. Whis then looks at Vegeta thoughtfully and says, "What will be your verdict, Mr. Vegeta?" questioned Whis, while everyone faced Vegeta's final decision. Vegeta then let out a sigh and says, "When we get back, you will make me the most powerful, understand?" Beerus, trying to hide a relieved smile, replies that Goku will be jealous of Vegeta when you finish training with me. Goku gets excited and asks, "Oh yeah? What are we waiting for then?" Whis interrupts and says, "It's not that simple, Mr. Goku. This spell to open the portal needs a special energy that is present in some items spread across the universes, with a total of 5 items. Vegeta, without much ado, asks what the items are and what universes they are in, and Whis replies, "Well, Sir Vegeta, a trunk of a type of tree that is the only one present on the planet Makuse. This item is here in our Universe 7. In Universe 6 there is an animal that has very good meat, but in addition we can also drain its energy and use it. This is called, by Mr. Champa, the Glenga monster." Goku raises his hands and asks, "So since only Vegeta and I are going after these items, isn't it better to go after these two now and then the next ones?" Whis thinks for a second and replies, "Okay, but they can't take too long. I'm going to take them to the places, and when they go to other universes they must be quick, so as not to arouse suspicion in Universe 6. We can negotiate, but the others will have a problem." Vegeta says that he is going to Universe 6, but Goku says that he is going because he also wants to know that universe. Vegeta tells him to shut up and says, "Now is not the time to be getting these frills. Like Whis said, we can't take too long." Goku lowers his head and says, "Okay, let's go." First, Whis takes Goku to the planet Makuse and wishes him good luck. In a few seconds he returns to Earth and then leaves with Vegeta for Universe 6. Beerus sees them going in the distance and talks to himself, wondering if it's really worth risking so much of his universe just to get an answer from his father. But he shakes his head and tells himself to shut up, because those are answers he's wanted for a long time, over 1,000 years. On the planet Makuse, within Universe 7, Goku is in the sun, observing the landscape. Despite the planet looking like a giant forest composed only of trees, almost all the same, and a huge river, he realizes that beneath that water there is a city. Even though he is interested in knowing if there are powerful beings on the planet with whom he can befriend and fight, he remains focused on getting the tree trunk, and he ends up finding the tree that refuses to leave the ground because it's stuck, so that not even using his hand, Super Saiyan 3 form, he can pull it off. Goku lets go of the tree and concentrates. Then his body turns red and his aura too. Knowing that this can cause considerable damage, he rushes toward the tree. But before Goku touches it, he is hit by a blast of energy. Goku's question was answered, and yes, there were warriors on that planet. In Universe 6, the universe of Mr. Champa. In Universe 6, Whis negotiates with Vados and Champa, both of whom will be able to visit Earth in search of delicious food if Champa doesn't cause problems. The god of the 6th universe accepts the deal and allows Vegeta to enter, so Whis takes him to the planet where the monster lives. Whis points to the place and says he needs him alive. Vegeta looks and there is an animal, and he already notices the presence of the strangers, and is going there. When he looks back, Vegeta does not see Whis, as Whis was returning to Earth. Vegeta raises his ki as the animal approaches, displaying its shiny horns. However, when it approaches the Saiyan, the animal does not show any aggression. On the contrary, the animal is tame, and it's as if he wanted Vegeta to pet him. Vegeta is embarrassed because he thought he would have to fight, and when Vegeta is relaxed and goes to pick up the creature to call Whis to return to his house, the animal grows up and shows why it is called a monster. Vegeta quickly flies up to the monster and holds the Saiyan by the horns, which are now huge, but Vegeta gets up and throws the creature back to the ground. We reached the end of another video today, so for those of you who like the content of this channel, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave your comment, which is very important for the channel. So I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.